Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Chris Coltrin. I am going to be your teacher this summer for your online Art 103 class. And I wanted to make this brief video just to introduce myself a little bit to you so you know where I'm coming from and give you a little bit of a primer on how the class is going to operate. I have it all basically written down in the syllabus and in the orientation section, but sometimes it helps to just hear somebody say things. So online classes frequently can hinge on kind of small details. So this is my attempt to try to make sure we're on the same page and clear up some of those. Um, as you'll see from my class going forward, my online Art 103 class is basically an attempt to translate my in-class version of Art 103 to an online environment. Um, the assignments are largely the same. I have you watch lectures of me that I've recorded. I think that if we use the different tools at our disposal here in online education, it gives us an opportunity to take hopefully what's good in the classroom, but also add to it some things we can do in the online environment that we can't do in the regular classroom. So I've been teaching this class for about 5 years online, and every year I try to improve something, make it a little bit better. So hopefully it'll be a positive experience for you. I think when in the past I've had negative experiences with students in online classes, it's usually because the students have a certain expectation going in. And so I want to use this video in part to kind of clear up where those expectations lie. Apparently, it's not my class, but apparently there are some online classes out there that are kind of easy. And sometimes when people come to an online class, apparently they assume that it's going to be easier, require less time, less effort than the regular version of that class. And mine isn't really that way. I take almost everything I do in the regular classroom and try to make it suitable for the online environment, but it takes about the same amount of time. So sorry, mine isn't the easy one. So if you're going to pass the class, you'll have to put some effort in and devote some time to it over the course of the next 5 weeks. And that's one of the reasons it's challenging, is because we're going to do a whole semester's worth of work in a very compressed 5-week format. So you have to know going into that that's the way it's going to work. It's not a regular class that only takes 5 weeks. It's a 3-month class that we're shoving into 5 weeks. In my experience, the people that do really well in my online classes have two characteristics. One is they have initiative. Because I won't be seeing you every day in person and holding your hand and reminding you when assignments are due and all those kinds of things, basically you need to be the one who takes initiative and make sure you devote enough time that you know where the class is going, what you need to do next to complete all the assignments. And the second thing that really helps people is if they're an organized individual, because again, you have to stay on top of it. I'm not there telling you every day what to do. You have to be the one who looks at the schedule, kind of books your own time, knows when you're working, when you're going on vacation, whatever it might be, and figure out how to make the class work within that context. I will say, if you are planning on going on vacation anytime during the class, I'd advise against it, but if you are, know going into it, you're going to have to devote a good bit of time while on vacation to completing the course materials if you want to pass the class. I'll explain how the weeks will work in just a few minutes, but you'll see why. The syllabus is really important for this class. If you haven't read the syllabus yet, you should go do that right now. It's sort of the lifeline for this class. I've tried to lay it out very structured, but you still have to go look at it, so be aware of that. If you haven't read over the entire orientation section yet, also go very carefully read over that. You probably have if you found this video, but in case you scroll to the bottom of the page and click the link first, all of that stuff is very important. It says exactly how the class is going to work, so make sure you go and read it. A couple things about online education in general I want to make you aware of. One is you need to be checking your Shepherd email regularly, because I will send out announcements via Sakai, and Sakai will be the kind of mechanism for distributing the online class. And they will go to your Shepherd email address. So, even if you have a Gmail address or whatever you regularly use, you need to be checking your Shepherd one during this class so that you get announcements from me. You need to make sure you have a reliable computer and internet connection. This class doesn't work really well on a phone. I'm going to be showing you paintings, and if you have to, if it's that big on your screen, you're not going to be able to see the painting. So you really need a computer of some sort, and you need a good, reliable, high-speed connection. Most of the class involves you watching online videos I've made, and the videos are filmed at a pretty high resolution, so you can see the images well. But that means they're pretty big files, and you need to make sure you have a good internet connection that can stream them effectively. Make sure when you watch the videos, they're uploaded onto YouTube. Make sure you watch them in the full screen mode and not the little stupid YouTube mode, because, like I said, I'm showing you lots of art, and it doesn't look very well on a tiny screen. It looks much better when it's in a full screen mode, so do that. You don't need to buy any books or course materials. I try to make this class a little easier on the pocketbook in that way. I do have some things you'll be reading, but you'll be able to download those all off of our class site on Sakai. The last thing about online class I have to make you aware of, and again, you might have seen this in the orientation section if you read over that, plagiarism is a big problem in all college campuses and in all environments, but it's a bigger problem in online classes. I tend to have about 5 times as many instances of plagiarism in my online classes as I do in my regular classes. I think because I can't see you every day, you don't get to know me. I'm quite the same way. Apparently people are just more comfortable thinking they can cheat than if they have to actually stare me in the eyes in my classroom twice a week. Anyhow, I have a couple videos I want you to watch in the orientation section. Make sure you watch those just to make sure you know what I'm talking about when I talk about plagiarism. Basically, don't Google somebody else doing your homework and try to copy and paste their words as if you wrote them. We're going to use a mechanism for submitting papers online. It's a website called turnitin.com, and one of your first assignments for this class is going to be involved setting up an account on turnitin.com, and that's where you'll submit all your papers to me. Just to make you aware, Turnitin.com is plagiarism catching software. So every time I get a paper submitted, it tells me what percentage of your paper was copied off of a website. So as long as it's a very low percentage, you're fine. If it gets high, there's a problem. Just so you know, if you get caught plagiarizing, you get a 0 on the assignment you get caught plagiarizing on, and then I also take away 1 other score, because I assume probably that wasn't the first time you did it. If you get caught twice, you fail the class automatically. So just don't do it. Just, if I ask you to read an article and write a written response about what you learned from the article, just try to do that, and you'll be fine. Okay, so let me describe for you how the class kind of operates. So we have 5 weeks, basically, and I've divided the class into 5 what I call modules, which is basically just for a module takes place over 1 week. So you'll have essentially, let's say you take the weekend off. You don't have to. Let's say you take Saturday and Sunday off. You start on a Monday morning. You've got Monday through Friday to complete all the tasks in that module. Everything is due Friday night at midnight. Now, you can complete it by Wednesday if you want to go out on Friday. That's fine. But technically, Friday's when everything is due by. In Monday through Friday, in that module, in that week time, these are the things you have to do. There are 4 lectures you're going to be watching. Okay, so it's like going to class basically 4 times in a week, which is what happens when you cram 3 months into 5 weeks. The lectures range from about an hour to about 2 hours long. Some are a little longer, some are shorter, but about an hour and a half is average. So you figure, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you've got about an hour and a half you need to watch a lecture. You need to make sure you take notes on these lectures. I can't stress this enough. The bulk of your grade will come from the quizzes you're going to take after watching these lectures. And these quizzes are open notes. So if you have lots of notes to use, they're not horribly tough. If you don't have notes, they're very difficult. So if you take good notes, you'll probably do fine in this class. If you watch the lectures and take good notes. If you either do not watch the lectures or you watch the lectures but you don't take very thorough notes, you will have a hard time passing this class. So it's very important that you take notes while watching the lectures. So let's say you watch Monday through Thursday for about an hour and a half, you watch a lecture. The other things you need to complete during that week are as follows. You will have a few other documentaries to watch, usually 1, sometimes 2. I think there's a week you have 3 hour-long documentaries to watch. So you need to make sure you can watch those in that same week as well. And when you watch the documentaries, also treat them just like the lectures. Take notes on them, because I will ask questions from them just to verify that you watch them. Maybe I should just have my little aside here. I was going to do this at the end, but I'll do it right now. One of the things that frustrates me most about online education is it sets up a different relationship between the student and the teacher than I normally have. Normally, I know you pretty well. I see your face multiple times a week over the course of months, so I get to know you decently well, and you get to know me pretty well. That doesn't happen here. I try to, get to know you through our online discussion forum and things, but in the end, I don't ever meet most of you. And in contrast to a regular in-class lecture, I don't have to trust whether or not you showed up and did it because you were there. I saw you. I mean, if you slept all through class, I saw that too. But basically, I know whether you are in class, paying attention, engaging the class. In an online class, I have no idea. I don't see you. I don't know if you're watching the videos. And what I have to do, sadly, is essentially assume you're kind of not. That the default position is, unless I have some evidence that you have, I have to assume you haven't watched these videos. I was a student before. I realized that unless I was being held accountable, if I was you, if I could get a good grade in a class by putting in virtually no effort, I probably would have done the same thing. But I hate that. I have to assume that you're all trying to kind of get through the class without making effort, which I don't like assuming, but unfortunately it's the way it is. Therefore, I have to set up quizzes and assignments that try to determine whether or not you actually have watched the lectures, paid attention, learned something along the way, done the readings, watched the documentaries. So I only know if you've done that if you do well on the quizzes and on the assignments I give you. So I ask questions on these quizzes that try to make sure you've watched the lecture. They're questions you can't really Google. They're questions that you can't just probably even remember just if you happen to watch it. You really need notes to look back, to be thorough and check things, to be able to answer the questions well. I don't like necessarily having to ask questions like that, but in an online environment, it's really the only way I can do it. So basically, you'll watch your 4 lectures, and then at the end of the week, by Friday, you have to take a quiz. The quizzes are 20 questions long. They're multiple choice quizzes. You'll have 30 minutes to do it. I don't like having to put a time constraint on the quizzes, but again, I have to in an online environment so as to discourage you from cheating. So you'll have 20 questions, 30 minutes. They're multiple choice, but they are tough multiple choice questions. You need your notes. You need very good, thorough notes in order to do well on these quizzes. Now, there is one other thing you need to do. Oh, no, sorry, 2 other things you need to do during that week as well. One is you have one paper basically to write each week. I call it a response paper. Sometimes you read something and you kind of write a response paper. Sometimes you watch a documentary and write a response paper. But it's some kind of task where you have basically a little bit of homework. The papers, my expectation is they're 1 page long, single-spaced. Sometimes I just ask you to summarize what you read. Other times I'll give you specific questions to think about. That information will always be embedded in on Turnitin.com, where you will submit your paper. Where you click on the link to upload your work, it'll have the definition for the assignment. If I want you to just summarize what you read, I'll say that. Just 1 page, single-spaced summary of the main points of the author. Or if I want you to respond to specific questions, I will say that as well. So you have 1 paper to write each week, each module. And then the last thing you need to do is you need to make a post, or actually 3 posts in our discussion forum through Sakai. This is my way of trying to engage you, get to know you a little bit, have you voice your opinions a little bit. For each module, there will be a topic. I'll give you instructions on what I want you to do, and then you need to make a post yourself, and then you need to respond to 2 other people's posts sometime during that week as well. So it's a little bit of a conversation. I give you 5 points per post, so you get 15 points for making your 3 points. Your 3 posts every module. These are pretty easy points as long as you make a little bit of effort. I give these points and they'll help out your grade in the long run. Just put a little bit of thought into it. Don't make a post that just says I agree with Joe or whatever. Tell me why you agree with Joe and what Joe said that was interesting. I do require that your first post in the discussion forum for the week happens before Friday, so it has to be by Thursday night at midnight, because you can't create a conversation if everybody's making their first post on Friday. There's no time to respond. So try to post earlier in the week, and then if you need to do your reply posts on Friday, that's fine. Okay, so basically that's what every week looks like. 4 lectures, 1 to 3 documentaries to watch, one response paper to write, which requires you to watch either a documentary or read an article or a book chapter or something I'll have available for you. And then you need to make your 3 posts in the online discussion forum. Now remember, over a normal semester, this would be 3 weeks worth of material here, where you go to class, have your homework. It's condensed in this 1 week, so you have to be prepared, you got to take initiative, you got to be organized to make sure you stay on task. That's why I say it's a little bit tough if say you're on vacation. It's not stuff you can just do in 15 minutes one night during the week and complete all these tasks. You need to think about devoting somewhere between 2 to 3 hours on average most days throughout the week, Monday through Thursday. If you did that Monday through Thursday, you'd be mostly done, so maybe 4 days a week to be able to complete the work in the class. Now, you can do whatever you want. You want to do 12 hours on Monday, do 12 hours on Monday and get it done with. But it's going to take some time. Okay. I think that's most of my announcements. Just want to let you know I don't have regular office hours during the summer, but I'm happy to meet with you if you need to meet with me. I always give students the options if they're really struggling or if they don't want to take these quizzes online. I'm willing to meet with you as long as I'm in town, which I am most of the summer, to have time to meet with you, and I can administer the quizzes in person if you'd just rather take them on paper than do them online. I'm fine with that. I should let you know on the quizzes, so everything is due Friday night at midnight. I will accept late work within a week of it being late, so if you have a paper due on Friday night, if you hand it in on Saturday, you can still get it. You'll lose a few points, but you can still hand it in. With regard to the quizzes, you have 2 late days to make them up. They disappear Sunday night at midnight. So if you want to take a quiz late, you will lose points. But you could take it theoretically on Saturday or Sunday after the module is concluded. But after Sunday, the quizzes are shut down. You can't go back and take them. So you really need to stay, again, organized and on task with these things. Okay, I think that's all I've got. I try to check my email every day so I can respond to your questions or concerns. Give me 24 hours to get back to you, though, because my summers can be weird just like yours can. If it is on the weekend, give me 48 hours just in case. I really hate checking email on the weekend, and I do it, but I do it begrudgingly, and sometimes I don't do it quite as regularly. So if you have any questions about the class, it's the best way to get in contact with me is just email, and I'll do my best to get back with you. So yeah, nice to meet you all. I'll be seeing you a lot. You see my face all the time, so what usually happens is in a couple years you're going to walk past me on campus and you're going to look at me funny because you know my face and my voice, but I only see your face like once. I see a picture. So I don't know you as well, but if that happens, just say hi. Just say, hey, Dr. Coltrane, I was in your online Art 103 class, and I'll say, hi, what's your name? Nice to meet you in the real world. So, all right, good luck with everything.